And then the token represents all the validated information from that twin. Okay. We record in the token only what has been validated. And the third pillar is the index, which measures that data. We look at the data and we give it a rating. So you know exactly what you're looking at.
What are we rating?
So we are rating the quality of the data and the quantity of the data. Because if I do, let's say, a 3D representation of an object, I can be very precise to the color, the texture, everything about it. Or I can just put black and white, but some metadata attached to it. That means information, but it's not textured. You don't see, you don't feel so you have a level of quantity and quality of data that you can measure. And so we measure that, and we also test the data for ESG criteria, which means environmental, social, and governance. For instance, I put information in the model. Does that improve the comfort of the occupants? Yes or no? Does that improve the water quality? Yes or no? So we test the data for different criteria, and so that allows us to give a rating. So when you see an information or a document, you see a rating attached to it.
Okay, yeah, that leads me on to my next question. So how does this affect the user experience? So, I go into a estate agent, I want to buy a house off plan.
Yes, so that way you can have assurance of what information is given to you is accurate or no. If you are buying, especially if you are going to buy a fraction of a token of an asset through a token, because that's what will be the next topic, tokenization of real estate. You want to know exactly who is doing what in the building and how the money is being spent. If there are repairs, for instance, you want to see exactly what materials were bought, not what you were told they were. So it gives full transparency and trust in the asset.
Okay, so if we back up just a little bit, so this works for, say, if I just want to buy a house myself, I'm going to go live in it. Yeah. But also, like you mentioned, fractionalized ownership. So this is more investment, right?
Right.
So
if it's for you, then you will have a copy of the digital twin. And on top of owning the house, you will also own this digital representation. And when you will do something, you will inform that digital asset. And when you're going to sell your property, you will not only sell the physical asset, but also all the data enclosed in that digital asset.
Yeah, and that could be valuable to the next buyer.
So it's value that you add on top of the physical property.
Okay. And like you say, with fractional ownership, is that's something you're also working in potentially?
So we will be working with solutions that are doing that.
Okay.
We will connect to fractional ownership, but it's not in our tech stack, actually. It will be maybe in the future, but right now we would rather connect to existing solutions that are tokenizing and fractional ownership.
So, yeah, I want to check. So every change that's ever made to the property, so from the plan to the build and then in the future renovations, they will all be recorded.
Yes.
And stored on the blockchain?
So right now we don't store the data itself on the blockchain for privacy reasons. And also the state of the technology is not there yet because those files are pretty heavy and you don't want to spread them on the blockchain. What we store is the proof of the data. So we create a data set or we upload a document. And what we will do, we will create a cryptographic encryption of this document and we record that on the blockchain. So that way it's timestamp and we know when it has been done. And if you need that information, let's say you want to know what has been done in that building at that particular time, you request it to us and we will then go get the document where it is located, which is on the cloud or on the client server.
Okay, and is this like a subscription service?
Yes.
Okay, and who is it that would take out your subscription? Is it the developers who are building the buildings themselves, or?
Yes, that could be the building owner, because the digital twin token belongs to the building per se. It doesn't belong to the owner of the building. Mm-hmm. It does by by incident because it does happen to belongs to the building itself.